Happy Sunday, everybody. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you are having an amazing weekend. If in fact it is your weekend, if it's just a regular work day, then I hope your day is going well. It's Friday evening when I'm recording this. It's due to rain on Saturday and Sunday, which is one of the reasons I'm recording this. But the solar panels have had their first full week in operation, and during that time, we have generated about 400 kilowatt hours of electricity. I say about because there was a firmware bug in the software that we have on the microinverters. And because we have two internet connections, we have Starlink and then we have the other one, which you can see right up there, we ended up with a situation where the microinverters could not update the software. So we had to turn off Starlink for a night. And then the next day, the microinverters had updated themselves and everything is now hunky-dory and it is reporting as it should. And for the last 2 days, it's been reporting properly. And it says that it has generated 334 kilowatt hours of electricity. But we know it's more than that because during the peak parts of the day, last weekend and most of this week, it was generating electricity but not reporting it. So I reckon it's about 400 kilowatt hours of electricity, which for 1 week is pretty darned good. I'm really looking forward to the rain though, because the garden is really dry. I know the chickens won't like it, but you can't keep everybody happy, hey? So what I want to talk to you about today is spurred by a discussion that happened this week on the Transport Evolved channel. We were talking about the Cadillac Lyric and advertising for the Cadillac Lyric, and I was pointing out that Cadillac has been very thoughtful about its advertising, and it's targeted people of colour, it's targeted minorities, other minorities. Also, by the way, I know that in that video I said Latinx, referring to the Latino community, and some of you really didn't like the fact that I said Latinx instead of Latino. We were trying to be inclusive because Latino obviously is a gendered word, and I know that upset some people, so I'm sorry about that. But if you have suggestions for a better phrase, a more inclusive phrase, please let us know. Because when we get things wrong, we don't like it and we want to make things better. But anyway, as part of that, we were discussing how Cadillac advertises to communities that other car companies haven't been advertising to. A lot of you were talking about, well, I don't care who's in the advert. Some of you were glad that you were represented in Cadillac adverts, and some of you thought it was virtue signalling, and some of you thought that you didn't care. And while I don't want to get into what some of you would call identity politics, I'm not going to call it identity politics because I don't believe it is. I do want to know whether you pay attention to adverts, whether you pay attention to electric vehicle adverts. When you see them on TV, do you sit up? Do you pay attention? Do you know which ones are good? Which ones make you sit up and go, wow, that was an EV ad? I know personally, I spot EV ads on TV a lot of the time. And I'm going to blame the fact that that's because this is my industry. I have to cover this day in and day out. And so I'm more likely to spot an EV ad when I see one. But I'm curious about you. Are there ads that make you go, oh, I'm not going to buy that car because of the ad? Or maybe you go, that was a really cool ad. I'm going to actually go and look at that car and maybe consider buying it in the future. And we've talked about advertisements for EVs before on this channel. Obviously, the wonderful Matt Teskey from Chargeway, we've had him on as a guest a couple of times. And we've talked about how EVs are advertised. But we've never really talked about whether you personally value EV advertising, whether you pay attention to them. And I know a lot of people watching will be Tesla drivers, and of course Tesla has traditionally not spent money on advertising. It's effectively just relied on word of mouth and good old-fashioned hype, I suppose. So tell me what you think about EV advertising. Do we need more? Are some companies good at it? Are some companies terrible at it? Do some mainstream automakers show themselves up with their advertising campaigns and prove that they really don't know what they're talking about? Or maybe there's a particular company that you think needs to be praised for having great EV ads. I'd love to know what you think in the comments below. Everything is coming into flower and into leaf here. I've got to chop all of these down at some point because this is just basically regrowth from a tree that had fallen down a long time ago. But my garden is doing really well, which is great. I've got my potatoes in. I've got 2 rows of potatoes. So this is a thing of potatoes, and then I've got another thing of potatoes here. I've got all my onions in and my Brussels sprouts. This is onions and Brussels sprouts. And then I've got garlic, and I've got sprouting broccoli and cabbage in this. And then over there, my strawberries and my raspberries. And then over here, we've got peas and beans and carrots and parsnips, because I like parsnips. Parsnips are great. They're kind of really tasty in a roast dinner, which I still make as a Brit. And also they're great in parsnip fritters, parsnip and pecan fritters, or pecan if you're American. Got to make sure I say that right. Anyway, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you to everybody who was so kind this week and was really supportive of all the cool videos we made. It's great that you like the content for the most part. I know some of you got really upset last weekend. We're not going to appeal to everybody all the time. So I'm not even going to try and keep everybody happy. Enjoy the content that we produce that you like, and if you don't like it, well, you can skip it. But we are a team, we are people, and sometimes we have to speak out on issues that we feel are important to us. And last week was one of those examples. Anyway, I'm going to go inside, finish off 10. I'm halfway through editing it. Thank you for all the amazing people who support the channel through Patreon and Ko-fi and Bitcoin. You guys really do make a big difference. The chickens have gone to bed, so I'm putting them up for the night. I will be back tomorrow with more great content. If you haven't already watched it, go and watch Kate Walton-Elliott's episode 2 of Rebooting Rebecca, which is just about to go live today on the main channel. Do you fancy an egg? And then later next week, we're going to have the Ford Mustang Mach-E, which will go live, which I'm really excited about. And then we get a new car next week, and I nearly said what it was, but we're probably going to have a Guess the Car game for next week. So we've got another car review from Wednesday next week until the following Wednesday. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll be doing some social media posts. I'm going to go and enjoy my supper. Thanks for watching. Keep evolving.